What's up, everybody? How's everybody doing? We are Conversations. I'm Ryan,
And I'm Ben.
and we're here. We're talking about some stuff.
We are. What are we talking about?
I don't know. How you doing, dude? why do you always do that?
I
When
don't
you
know,
do that,
dude.
it makes me feel awkward, dude.
Because, like, I
Why
don't
do I have
know.
my arms up?
I don't know, like I'm trying to match your energy, bro.
I'm just learning based off of watching you, man. So,
I don't know, bro.
That's on my end.
I'm trying to follow your lead, man. Take me to the promised land.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, where
Whoa,
are you taking
shoot.
me, bro? Where are you taking me, bro?
Well, man, I'm all right. How you doing, dude?
I'm doing great. I am actually doing really well.
Why actually?
Oh, that's a great question. You know why I love that question is because you know how people are like, oh man, how are you, bro? Oh yeah, good, yeah. It's like this.
And then they don't. Yeah.
It's this like surface level. It's almost small talk. It's almost like it doesn't matter what you say because it's just you just expect it to be this like icebreaker.
Easy, yeah,
Hey
yeah.
bro, how you doing, man? Yeah, good.
Cool,
Oh
cool,
yeah,
cool.
dude, what's up, man? How you what you
yeah.
been up to? Like we just throw out hella questions
That's why I hate small
without
talk.
even like letting the person process what you just asked them, and you're just trying to get through words. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And
But then if the question is, well, what,
you said how actually are you? Is that what you said?
I said why actually?
Why? Oh, that's good.
Because you said actually I'm pretty good. I'm good, or like
Because you know, for me these days, actually, yeah, it is more so these days. Because I think before, I go, oh yeah, bro, how you? It's like I always do this. Hey, bro, what's up, man? You been good? Hey, that's what's up, man. Like
that's what's up, man.
almost like not even how are you? It's like, hey, you've been good. So I'm only giving you the option to be like, yes, I've been good.
Yeah.
Because what if you're like, no, I've
Nah.
been bad? Then I'd be like, I don't know how to respond after this.
Yeah.
Because I wanted you to say you're good.
I actually like to now when people respond in those generic responses, I like to troll them, and I like to come back with something that's what? Like people when I'm helping them at work, they're like, oh, I'm like, oh, I'll be with you in a second. They're like, oh, take your time. I'm like, okay, cool. I'm gonna go to lunch right now. Is that cool? And they're like, you're joking, right?
But they also could have been like, okay, seconds up.
Yeah, that's true. But
You better
I'm
choose
the
your
one
words
with the power,
carefully,
so
bro.
they need my service.
Choose your words carefully.
No,
You said,
you're right.
I'll be with you in a second. They could be like,
That's
okay,
true, that's
1
true.
second's up. Now come over
I'll be
here.
with you in 3 minutes and 25 seconds. Yeah, I could be real.
I'm very,
you wanna be literal,
you know
yeah.
what, dude? These days, I'm very much more aware of my choice of words. I put, you know what, the other day on my IG story, you know how you could put those little captions in your story now? Or
Okay.
not the captions, but like, you know what I'm talking about? You go into your DMs, you could like post a note.
Yeah.
Like, how was your day, everyone?
Yes.
Like, whatever.
Uh-huh.
I put, how really are you? And then I had interesting responses. Because some people would just heart it. Some people were like, I love that you asked, you put the really in caps.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
then some people would actually like, I'm actually not doing that great. Like, you know what I'm saying? So I think that those sort of not trigger words, but like those culturally accepted just greetings, right?
Yeah.
Hey, how are you? Okay, cool. So here's
That's what you say.
I,
How you doing? How are you? Like, and they already asked
yeah,
you. Like, oh,
yeah. I think that's really interesting, bro.
I always do that.
So
at
when
work.
you ask me like how actually or whatever,
Yeah.
I'm like, well, if I really think about it,
Was it a down? You were down before, and this week was better, or
I think I've been down for a minute. But then I'm also good too. It's not like I stay down. You know, we do this roller coaster
Yeah,
of a
yeah.
thing. But I am currently in a season where I feel really good, bro. Really good. And you know what? It's not even that like because I'm making hella much more money or like, you know, like I got this.
things are just aligning,
It's just my perception
merging?
and my lenses are clearer. There's a lot to that. But I think it's a, you know what I think that's really funny to me because I think I used to be much more automatic response with like, how are you? I'm good. How you been? I'm good.
Yeah.
What's new? You know, work's good. I just go down that list of like work's good. Yeah, you know, I've been feeling good. I'm like healthier. Da da da. Like it's almost not to say that stuff's not genuine, but it's almost this like checklist of just like automatic responses.
Yeah.
These days, when someone asks me, how are you? I actually pause, not to like make them feel uncomfortable, because I actually
want to think about it.
I think about it. I'm like,
Yeah.
it's a good question. You said, how am I? Let me think about that. Not to make it awkward.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to give an automatic
The guy would be
response.
awkward though. I'd be like, okay.
But why is that awkward? Why
It's because you're expecting them to be like good, and then you just
so I feel like
move on.
I would love for there to be like a reconditioning of how we greet one another and how we like check in with one another.
Sure.
And like when we say, hey, how are you? To ask that question with the expectation for that person to actually think about it before they respond.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because you're going to feel weird if it's, hey, what's up, man? How are you? And the person like pauses. If I feel weird, that means I asked you that question without actually caring how you are. You know what I'm saying?
For sure. No, you know what's funny is that, and you know, with crew, like when I first got to know everybody, I realized, or now we're talking about this, I'm like, you know, it was always me being real. Like I never sugarcoated anything. So you're like, hey, how you doing, Ryan? I'll be like, damn, man, I had a fucking shitty ass day. And they're like, oh yeah, don't worry, man. Like, keep your head up. This is gonna be, and they're so positive that I was like,
yeah,
damn,
you know what?
I'm like,
I actually hate that response too, as if like people aren't allowed to have like bad days,
right? Yeah.
Because when people are like these days, for me now, if I were to be like, hey, bro, how are you? And if I get that response, because sometimes I do that too, when I'm like, oh yeah, it's just the way to greet people. Like, hey, what's up? How are you? And then they're just like, man, actually, I'm not doing that good. I'm like, oh, okay. And then I don't want to be like, hey man, don't worry, bro. Like, just
but you're a good listener. When the happens, you kind of,
because that catches me. It throws me off my track, which is a good thing, because I don't want to live on some like autopilot track where I'm just like, yeah, everything's great. Or like when someone makes it awkward, I'm like, oh, okay, I don't want to be awkward. Let me get back onto the normal, like, don't think about stuff track. Yeah. I want to be on a let me think about everything track. If someone chose to tell me that they were like, actually, I've had better days, or like, I'm struggling with this, or you know what, man, like I just not really feeling it today.
Yeah.
That stops me in my tracks, and that makes me want to like, okay,
what's going on? Yeah.
Why? What's going on? And you know, sometimes you don't have all the time in the world, but like, dude, just the other day, bro, I was in Arts District, at Wolf and Crane, the bar.
Yeah.
Wolf and Crane.
The whiskey, yeah.
And I was chilling with the homie, and then she went to use the restroom. So I'm just at the bar. I'm like, you know, whatever, sipping on my drink. And then there was this dude who was just like, and this is funny. He's just like, hey, bro, are you Anderson .Paak? And I said, what?
Hey, you know, aside from you kind of,
bro, I don't know. I don't know what it was.
Splitting image of him.
I maybe it was.
What you do?
I mean, the dude might have been a little, you know, had a few, you know what I mean? And maybe he had some goggles on.
What was he? What was his?
I mean, I don't know. I want to say he either Filipino or
okay, so he's an Asian guy.
Samoan or something.
Come on, guy.
Or maybe he was Latino. I don't know, bro. I actually wasn't really paying attention. But he was just like, hey, bro, you Anderson .Paak? I'm like, and I looked at him and I laughed. I'm like, no, I'm not. But like,
you should be like, what you doing?
Hey, Lord. Yes, Lord.
This bitch.
No, but I was just like, oh, bro, no, I'm not Andrews. But I'm a fan of him. And then we got to talking. And I was like, what's up, man? What's your name? His name is, okay, I don't want to put his name out there. But I'm like, yeah, he gave me his name. And we're talking. And then I'm like, what's up, bro? You out here with some friends? Like, what's going on? And he's just like, nah, I'm out here by myself. And then like I'm like what's good? Are you all right? And he's just like, man, it's been a tough time. And I was like, oh, bro, tell me about it. And I'm like, this is not your typical bar conversation, right? No. Oh, I remember what I was wearing. I was wearing my Lakers hoodie, and that was when that was game 1.
Okay.
So he was just, I think he was like, you know, I had that and I had like a bucket hat on or whatever. So he just, are you Anderson .Paak? I don't know. Is that what Anderson .Paak wears? Is that the AP uniform? I don't know.
The bucket hat, yeah, maybe.
Yeah, okay. You know. But that's beside the point. But like we got to this like deep conversation when he was talking about like, oh yeah, something with his son, and then I was just like, hey, bro, I appreciate you even like telling me all this. You know what I mean? He didn't seem like he was wasted or anything like that. He just was like, you obviously needed to say this stuff to somebody. And I'm glad I'm that guy that you were able to
you
say
were-
that
you were,
to.
you know.
Because easily I could have been like, oh, yeah, okay, cool. Well, good luck with that. Like, I wish you well. And then went off with my homie. But, like, I'm like, no, let's talk. Like, let's talk about that. And so, I mean, that's the thing, bro. Like, I don't know
That's
why.
really for him to just be like
Maybe
open
he,
and
like
vulnerable.
that. I don't know
like,
if that
to
threw
you.
him off, but like, I'm pretty sure he was not expecting to go to the bar that night.
Dude, he was
to,
like, dude, Anderson Paak just gave me like therapy,
Me?
man.
I'm Benderson
He's like
Paak, bro.
Benderson Paak.
Benderson Paak. We had a therapy session, bro. But like, I mean, but for real, I was just, I was really actually thankful for that moment. Because I also wasn't expecting some sort of like run in like that. Because I was like, oh, yeah, we're just going to have a drink with my homie and da-da-da-da. And then all of a sudden, and for what it's worth, I was like, bro, like if you need, I gave him my number. I was like, dude, you want to like grab lunch sometime? Like, yo, we do a Bible study. You want to come out to a Bible study? He's like, yeah, bro, yeah, let me know. And so I texted him the next day, hey, bro, we're meeting tonight at 7:30. And then he's like, oh.
You got to do a little bit more vetting than that. I mean, you got to look at the Instagram.
Well, true.
You got to see if he has an Instagram, because if you don't have an Instagram, there's something wrong. If you don't have a Facebook, there's something wrong. You might have just invited a serial killer to your.
That's kind of true. That's kind of true.
But there's a lot of you, so it's okay. I'm sure you guys have
you
plenty
know
of
what?
Bibles to throw at him.
These days, yes, you can't be too careful. So that's a good point. Point is, I mean,
But
I
it was
invited
definitely
him
God. It was God for him, like,
because I don't know what that meant for him.
Yeah.
I don't even know why I met him or whatever. But like, I just had a non like conventional and non like a very uncommon run-in
yeah.
at a bar. You know what I'm saying? And then like someone just started to like, get into some real stuff. But I loved it. I welcomed it. And then, I left that night like questioning some stuff. I was like, man, how come people aren't more like this?
Yeah.
Like we feel this need that, oh, we're drinking, we're having a good time. Let's just keep it fun. Let's not get serious. Because a lot of times the people who do go out and get drunk like that and da-da-da-da-da, and I'm not judging anybody because I do that too.
Yeah.
Sometimes you're kind of like trying to escape from something.
Looking for an outlet.
And you're trying to like medicate from something.
Which is bad. I mean, I've never done that. I think I medicate from work. Like I'll try to do that. Like the
a lot of people medicate from work.
But I don't medicate from like when I'm angry or like when I'm sad. It doesn't, make me want to drink more. At least not anymore.
Are you sure? 'Cause sometimes you're like, hey, bro, so that's
work.
I just had a rough week,
That's
bro.
at work. Then that's all work related.
That's what I'm saying.
But at the same time, I'm only doing it once or twice a week, so it's like.
Well, whatever the case, I'm not saying this dude's out here in the bars every single day. Maybe that was his once or twice a week. But my point is, a lot of people have I need to do this because of this.
It's our way of coping, right? Like, because I feel like, especially with Asians, we weren't taught how to deal with our anxiety. And there's no such thing as anxiety. You can't be fearful, can't be scared. You just got to do it, right? So it's like, but we never learned how to tackle like head on all these problems, that we face as adults.
What do you think that comes from?
Parents. I mean, parents not knowing. In Korea, there's like, mental health is not even a thing, right? It's not like
it's like suck it up and
I mean, I think now with the younger generation, they might be bringing more light, like more light to it, and more awareness and stuff in Korea. But yeah, it's definitely the culture, just suck it up, dude. Like we grew up during war times. Like you guys are living good. Like just suck it up. And I think it's toxic. It's definitely a little toxic.
It's very toxic.
Definitely a little unhealthy. I'm unwiring all that stuff that I learned and all the. It's what's hard is that, with Vero, she's very tough. Like she's like almost like a Korean parent tough.
She is manlier than you.
Like when I tell my parents,
let me rephrase that. I might not be welcoming her after this. Vero, you are very womanly.
No, she's like, hell yeah, I'm manlier. She'll come in right now, bitch slap me, and then walk out.
Out bench
Look
press
at the
all
camera.
Of us.
Is this on? And then walk out.
Yeah, no, but she has this tough exterior. Okay, you know what? Now that we're on the topic of Vero, she has this tough exterior, but there is a very soft gentleness.
Yeah, when she's sleeping. It's very gentle and soft.
Okay, fine.
No, I'm just kidding.
I'll give you that. I
might get in trouble for that one.
But there is a softness to her that, and I think this is also a part of like I don't want to say Asian culture. Well, maybe it is Asian culture. Well, let's just call it Korean culture. Let's just keep it safe within this space of Koreans.
Korean culture.
Like the Korean way is like suck it up. Dude, my mom even told me, "Why are you crying? Don't cry. Boys don't cry."
Yeah.
I was like, "Fudge, why do I cry so much?" You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But like, even my mom told me, "Don't cry all the time. Boys are not supposed to cry all the time." Let alone like my dad would like freaking hit me for crying, bro. So imagine that. But then there's also the softness of like, you know, they give you the, like, it's the way that they love you is like, we provide shelter, we like give you food, and then like clothes, and then all the things that you need to survive. We provide a roof over your head,
which is all the fundamental things that you need to like survive in terms of like survival, right?
Yeah.
But we're not animals. There's our mental health, right? That now we're dealing with it. We're dealing with the after effects of the mental health, the mental health damage that we've gotten from just not receiving that love. You know, I feel like the American culture is a lot more understanding, you know what I mean? More accepting. And it's just like, I mean, I knew kids growing up that called their parents by their first name. And their parents were cool.
None of them were Korean though.
No, they're what? They're
That's
white,
what I'm
they're
saying.
white boys, you know?
Yeah.
Jan, can we get 2 Lunchables here? Like, you know, it's like, who's Jan?
We
Like,
wouldn't be caught dead
No,
calling
for sure.
our Korean parents by their first names.
And even for me, like when I first started working with my pops, when I go to his store, I'd be like, "Oh yeah, my daddy wants this," and then finally it got to a point after maybe like 6 years, I started calling him. I would refer him as to his workers now. Yeah.
Whoa.
But like even before, like
I'd
my dad would
be like, "This is
my daddy.
This is Appa."
No, he'd be standing next to me, and I'd be like, "Hey guys, look, if you guys need make sure you email." And my dad's standing right there, and I think he understands the context. No, he understands the context of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like but it is a little weird for me because the first couple times,
there's a little fear in your heart, like
the daddy is like, can I call you
his name?
Yeah.
You know, I think that's really interesting because like
I have to bleep these names out.
culturally, we're just used to, that level of like, I can't say, I'm not gonna call my friends' parents by their first name, but then like we grew up out here in America where we see our white friends like, oh yeah, it's like hey, how's it going? My name's Laurel. I'm like, what's your last name? Because I gotta call you like Mrs. Something.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I can't just call you Laurel. Like,
I ran with it.
That is
Jan?
impolite.
Hey, Jan.
But you know, like that's some stuff that I feel like we've learned. So okay, well, I feel. How old are your parents?
In the upper 60s, low 70s.
Okay. My mom is turning 76. Oh, she just turned 76. So I feel like my mom, as she got older.
Because you're older, yeah.
She became more aware of things like mental health, whether she realizes that or not. Because then.
Isn't she in healthcare?
No, bro.
Oh. Why did I think that? Because she was taking care of someone. Sorry. Sorry, I didn't mean to derail.
So, she became more aware of things like being sensitive to people's feelings. Like, you know, that sounds so elementary. Like, you should be aware of people's feelings. My mom was not aware of people's feelings before. Like, throughout my entire life, she's like, "This is right. This is wrong."
Right?
It's like, why are you doing that?
Yeah.
Why are you crying about that? This is the right thing. You should be crying about the fact that you messed up. Like. It's not at all like, oh, it's okay, like da-da-da-da-da. Like, it's none of that. Even for me, she'd be like, why are you crying?
Yeah.
You're a boy. You shouldn't cry. And that actually pissed me off. I'm like, F you. Like, I am crying because I'm sad. I'm crying because I'm mad. I'm crying because I'm
How old
hurt.
were you when you said the F-bomb?
Bro, I got beat down so hard. I literally dropped... I F-U'd my mom, and that was almost the death of me, bro. That was
you were young.
I was young. I mean, I was probably like 12.
My first one was maybe my 32, 33. And I didn't even say it directly to him.
F-bombed your mom at 32, 33?
No, I said the F word in front of my parents.
Did they beat you?
No, of course.
He was like, dude.
No, they were like,
did they
it was
hit you,
because
bro?
it was a bad interaction with another person. My parents were there, and I said the F word, F you to the person, and my parents were just like, actually, you know what? They didn't really get mad. They were like,
Proud?
like, nah, not proud, but they're like, okay, well, we at least know our son's
They're
not
like, okay,
our
we
son's
get it.
not a bitch, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
And they
yeah,
at least
yeah.
know that, so.
Oh yeah, my mom seen me do that to somebody else, and my mom didn't say anything. She was just like, "You are protecting our family.
Yeah. You have brought honor to our family.
You have protected our family. You're good."
I remember getting beat because I cried too much.
Isn't that weird?
And my dad was like, "Is he done?" And my mom was like, "Nah, he needs to stop crying."
So we're gonna beat him until he stops
Crying,
crying.
like no more tears. You know what I mean?
That's
granted.
the
I did what
weirdest
the
thing.
offense was really bad, so I deserved it. But okay, well, let's say there's a very thin line of saying I deserved it because now it's not accepted. So it's like, who knows
You
if
ever
I
think
was
that,
accepted
like,
then?
There's that like, oh, this is gonna hurt me more than it hurts you thing.
You know why?
Do you believe?
I do believe that because they get tired at my age. If I had to
It's
beat a
just
kid,
simply like,
I would be
I
so
am
winded.
exhausted
I would be so
by just beating you down. So this is actually hurting me
Yeah,
more now
it
than it hurts
is.
you.
And that's
And then we're just calloused and just numb. So
See,
it's like, yeah, I can't really feel it anymore.
I think in the heart, maybe, maybe. But now as I'm older, I'm like, man, if I had to do that the way that my dad did it, legit with two sons, I think he would. And it's not that we were like, we would fight back a little bit, and.
Whoa, I never dared fight back because I'm like, I'm gonna get harder if I fight back.
Well, well, not all the time. I remember sometimes when I think I fought my dad once or twice, and my brother fought him once when he had a BB gun and my dad tried to take it from him. But yeah, I think it's just
Wait, your brother tried to shoot your dad with a BB gun?
No, maybe I should put some context.
Wait, what?
Me and my brother were in the backyard shooting at the fence, and then my
Okay.
dad came out and was like, "What the hell is that?" And then we were like, "Oh, it's a BB gun. It's just like a pellet gun." But he just heard gun and he tripped out, and like him and my brother went at it. Like,
Whoa, what if it was a water gun? Would that have been also bad?
nah, I don't think it was a water gun. But that was the very first time I saw my dad do the flying, the kick, the double punch.
Flying sidekick your brother?
Yeah, he jumped off the step and he went like this.
What the?
And
What?
yeah, it was the funniest thing. Like for me, it was funny because I was not in trouble.
Because you're like, Dad, I didn't know you had those moves. He's like, what else do you got?
No, it was
got
the
like a
Liu Kang,
360?
like the flying, like
You got a 360 roundhouse too?
no, it was it was.
Appa, that's impressive.
I want to say that it was a moment where after it happened, like we all stopped and laughed. Like that's what I tell myself in my brain, and that's the memory that I have. But now that I'm older, I'm like, did that happen that way? I don't know. I feel maybe now I'm starting to get little pieces of my brother just rushing out and never coming back for like 2 months. So, like, because he was in college at the time, he came to visit me, and he was like, "Oh,
and then he
check out
came to visit you and
yeah."
got the flying sidekick, bro.
It's just one of those things. Like, why, Dad? Why are you tripping? Like, come on, like. Why are you tripping about the baggy pants? Why they tripped so much that they brought the trauma onto us? I feel like
That's actually true, bro.
Yeah.
We've had a lot of trauma.
and I always bring this up to my dad whenever he lectures me about stuff I'm doing now. Like he's like talking about my hair, he's like, "Oh, you're growing your hair. That looks like a hippie." I literally will have to send him pictures like, "Look at you. This is the same length that you had in the 70s and the 60s."
Bro, you should show him some like samurais. Like, Appa, I'm a samurai right now.
Yeah.
I am a warrior.
The Japanese painting, like
The kabuki face.
yeah, is that what it's called? The kabuki face?
I don't know. Maybe I'll get canceled for that. I don't know if that is. But bro, you got samurai hair, bro. You're a warrior.
I'm trying. That's I hear it from some of my customers.
Samuraian.
Samuraian. I'm trying to go for the the full, but it's really hard. It's really
You
hard
went from like John Wick to like samurai.
because of the half thing.
And it's growing out long.
Yeah, I'm just trying to. Anyways, it doesn't matter. So
Why doesn't it matter, bro?
Because
Am I making you feel uncomfortable?
I don't want to talk about my hair, man. It's
Why?
an ugly stage.
How are you, Ryan? How actually are you?
How actually am I?
Yeah. You asked me that. I already told you how I am. How are you, bro?
I'm always at an even keel, man. I don't think I'm too high or low. I just kind of every day I just run through it and it erases and I just deal with it again. Unless like my employees are giving me crap and I walk in and I see my employee walking, my manager walks in. I can see on his face, oh, this is going to be a bad day. This guy's in a bad mood. I think he follows the podcast too. I'm telling you, talking to you, Doug. And that makes me like have to shift around my attitude, my work. So that's like stressful. But other than that, I think I'm good. Vero, I'm actually learning how to navigate around her stuff too. So these days I've been good. This thing stresses me out a little bit.
Okay, we'll talk about this in a second. You said navigate around her.
Yes.
Why are you navigating around her versus navigating with her?
Because there are some times when she is just not permeable.
Okay,
she's just a wall.
That's a good word.
She's just a wall. And before, not recognizing that would get us into unnecessary fights.
Yeah.
So for me, I don't see moving around. I'm more like I'm pivoting a little bit just so we don't collide. You know what I mean? On certain times, there are other times where I see it and I'm like, okay, this is a normal interaction, so I can say my piece and then we can have a good communication. Which our communication has gotten a lot better because I think the being married right into the pandemic definitely put a lot of stress on our marriage, but that like taught us, or at least taught me, not to be so. How not to offend so much, because I could be offensive.
You can be a little abrasive
or oblivious, not thinking, So these days I'm on that. We talked about it. I'm on the journey of a new Ryan. So
and you've been getting better.
Yeah,
you've been getting better.
I think so. I'd like to say so.
So I mean,
that's why I'm growing my hair to tie it up so I can level out the badness, badassness. I look badass, but I'll be
Does long hair mean badass? Is that what that is?
Sure, I don't know. Yeah. Why do you have to question it? Yes, all the long haired dudes, with maybe not a bun, but maybe just long hair.
I don't know. Jesus had long hair,
and he's a badass.
He actually was, though.
Yeah,
he actually was, but he was also really loving.
That's why you gotta balance it out.
You do gotta balance it out. Well, okay, so why I asked about the navigating around versus with, because that's probably what our disconnect with our parents was. We felt like we needed to navigate around our parents. We never collaborated with them. We never were like, oh my God, can we talk about that?
Yeah.
That thing that I got punished for. And of course, but we're kids though, so this is
my gosh, that conversation would never happen.
Oh no, I'm gonna put the onus on the parents because the kids will never do that.
Yeah,
kids don't know any better to be like, Mom and Dad, let's sit down, let's talk about the way that you punished me right now. That's never gonna happen. But the fact that so I'm saying I'm putting this out there because I'm putting the onus on parents. Like, let's call our generation out, bro. We are of the generation that we are parents. And probably our listeners or whatever. Yeah,
they're all parents.
A lot of them are parents. And a lot of them are like products of that, right? Like they are of our generation, and maybe some of them are younger, and maybe some are older. But the way that we teach our children how to deal with mess ups and sad, emotional mistakes, whatever, like the way that we're
taught
show that to our children, that's going to either break that cycle or perpetuate it.
Yeah, I think it's broken it. I feel like a lot of my friends who have kids, they've learned how to not be that way, but also I feel like they might be coddling their kids too much.
That's a whole other, that's like a different thing that could, yeah.
So like I have friends that, not friends, but they're like youngs or like Nunas or cousins that have kids that are in their teens, junior high and teens, that we're coddled. Some of them are kind of like, I feel like, I don't know, maybe I don't know their personality too well, but it's just like.
Okay, let's talk about the coddle thing. Why is being coddled
because bad? They're so like, I don't want to do what my parents did to me and give that trauma.
So they're like other extreme,
too much more. Yeah, it's like,
just like you'll never get punished. You're never gonna.
Not even that. Just more of like a little too much too much encouragement, no realness. Like too much of a sugarcoat of things and nothing like real. I think we needed a balance, right? Like our parents were real,
Yeah,
but they weren't.
yeah.
They didn't know how to make it like, hey, you know what? Like I went through that too. Like they just like we never went through that. Why do you go through that? Like we never did that.
Now,
you know,
now
like,
we're getting into like toxic positivity.
yeah.
Do you think that exists? Toxic positivity?
I don't know if it would be labeled as toxic, but it's definitely hurtful or definitely not a good thing always, you know.
You know what? I will be so bold to say that I do think that there is such a thing as toxic positivity. When you teach that there is nothing bad.
You're avoiding
like everybody's good, like. And of course, I want to always err on the positive side. Like there's always a positive side to everything, which I do believe. But I also want to put out there, like there is evil. There is bad stuff. There is stuff that like shouldn't happen. But there's a positive to all those things. That's not to discount the negative, like as if it doesn't exist, to ignore it and be like, oh, that's not bad. It's good. It's good. It's good. It's like, no, it is bad.
Yeah,
but
for
then
sure.
how do you find the good in the bad? Because now you get this holistic view of like, okay, there is evil in the world. It's okay to be sad. It's okay to cry. It's okay to be angry.
Yeah.
But then how you process that and then how you output from that, that's where the world of a difference is. And I think that's why we see all the freaking crazy like violence, gun shootings.
I think that's a lot of reason why we
wilding
love
out
the
in these
90s sitcoms, because that it gave us what we needed. For me, it was big watching like, you know, Full House and Danny Tanner. The kids do something, they get in trouble, and at the end, you know, it's like
You saying that the world is Full House right now? Because I don't think it's Full House.
it's not. But I'm saying I feel like that's kind of the formula that works, where you're like you punish the kid, then you come in and explain why you punished him, and try to teach him like, hey, this is why you messed up, and da-da-da. We never got that. It was boom, beat your ass, go to sleep, wake up tomorrow the next day like nothing happened. You know, and
no resolution.
No, like I think
I'm gonna feed you. I put breakfast on the table. That means we're good.
I think exactly. And I think the one thing my parents did that gave me a little of that like healing was that my dad was, I think we were like, my brother was dealing with his kids and he was getting really frustrated. And my dad just looks over at me. He was like, you know, beating, like punishing you guys, like hitting you was wrong. We shouldn't have done that. And I was like, wow, like you're capable of like learning. And so because of that, I try to always challenge them, because I'm like, hey, you were able to learn this lesson, like, you know, 30, 40 years after the fact. Like, how is it that you don't see that you could be wrong about this thing too, that you think that is the way? And my journey right now is trying to get close to my dad, like trying to go beyond like what we've gone through. And it's hard because we work together, but I think it's starting to now where I don't sugarcoat things to him. Like my dad asked me, why aren't you having kids? And instead of saying all the BS is that, I said, look at our relationship. Like, why would I want that?
Whoa.
And I didn't mean it in a mean way.
No, I know. What does he say to stuff like that?
He was like, I guess you know what? I blacked out a little bit. I don't fully remember because I was just like
so angry,
because I was just so heated at that. And we were talking, and this was funny because we were talking in front of our construction workers in my new store. And so we were like using like inside voices. So I couldn't yell. I couldn't get like angry. So there was no, I couldn't like release it. Mm-hmm. So I was very like pent up. And that's when I was like, look at our relationship. I mean, I love you, Dad, but look how much stress that we bring to each other. And I don't even want to do that. I don't want to give you that stress. I don't want to get that stress. Like, I don't want my kid to give me that. I don't want to give my kid this like stress of like this little piece of me or a little piece of you that lives in me that is always going to be there. Whatever, judgmental or, hey, in the eyes of like, you could do better. I see your potential, but not looking past like thinking of like, oh, what if he's strong? You know, like not thinking about the kid. You know.
So I think what we're talking about, I think where our Asian parents raised us up to be, you need to go fulfill your most like highest potential.
Yeah.
And that's your purpose in life, is to reach your highest potential. If you do anything to fall short of that, you will somehow, and maybe this is in our heads.
Yeah.
I don't know if this is like what they're actively thinking or like what they're trying to tell us, but in our heads it's like, damn, if I don't achieve that highest potential, my parents aren't going to love me as much as I would want to be loved.
Or we get they play both sides. Like we believe in you. You have the potential, but then when we don't hit it, it's like you didn't try hard.
So what do you
enough.
think that is? I think I'm gonna chalk it up to this. It's status and money.
Yeah, it's all about
status and money. If you don't become a doctor, you're not going to be a doctor. So I can't brag to my friends that you're a doctor, and you're not going to have the money of a doctor.
Well, which is confusing for me because my mom has been telling me since birth that I'm going to be a pastor, and
really,
yeah, since birth, and she had all these dreams or whatever, and it's like. I'm like, you tell me I'm supposed to be, I'm just getting ready not to be, I can't go rich and then go, pastor. I'm just preparing myself for, and I joke with her, but they get mad. And I'm like you want it both ways? Like you can't first of all, for me, I'm like, you'd say that God is in control of everything. So everything you're doing right now has no meaning. It doesn't matter. You can stress about it. You can bitch out. You can try to do this, try to do that. But if it's in God's plan, whatever God's plan is going to happen. If it's against what you think is going to happen, that's God's plan. So it's like it's like even Korean Christians, Korean like old school Korean, it's like they pick and choose. I feel like
they do,
where they want to like use that,
Yeah.
And it's just for me, I'm like why at this point I'm like, why are you guys so worried? Like, what are you so worried about? Like, if you're so, like, you put so much into God and faith in God, like, it's done now. You guys done your part. Like, they're very micromanaging still, very involved or try to be too involved. And that pushes me away. So it's like, whatever, but,
Bro, I get it, man. But
we can talk about the pastor thing another time, but.
We will for sure talk about that another time. But as you're talking about this dynamic between your parents where you saw that there was like a moment where your dad's like, I know I wasn't the best, this and that, whatever. Like whatever, I forgot how you phrased it, but like where you actually like, whoa, you're willing to admit that you're not always right. Yeah. Bro, I had that moment with my mom too. Literally, I've heard my mom say she was sorry once in my entire life.
Wow.
And
what's that like?
She was actually wrong, and she said she was sorry. It literally made me throw away everything that I was mad at her about, purely by the fact that I'm like, damn, did you just say you're sorry?
How easy it is.
I'm just
how
like,
easy it is.
I don't even know what I was mad about anymore.
You're like, you're
like,
so.
Did you just say you were sorry? So, I mean, like now we're learning, like, where do we get this? Like, we can't feel, we can't cry, we can't like be emotionally, whatever. We can't be depressed. Like, we've been taught and conditioned that is not even a thing that exists. Yeah, right. I think if you feel that, that's because you're weak. That's because you're letting the devil do this to you. Da 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 da. It's like, no, bro.
But Jesus went through it, and like,
he
went
through all of that.
Yeah,
he went through all of that, bro.
That's why it's like it's like the ideologies are just. It's,
you know what it
so
is, bro?
mixed.
Like what I think what we're talking about now is religiosity, bro.
Religiosity?
Is
that a word?
Yes, it's a word, motherfucker. What are you talking about? Look that junk up.
Like, is
that a word? Read a book, dog. Look up the thesaurus.
Religiosity.
No, that's not a word. Religiosity.
Isn't that what I said? Religiosity.
You said religiosity or something. I don't know, bro. I can't wait to freaking have the AI caption that junk. Okay, so we're not going to derail this conversation and make it about like Christianity or whatever.
Sure.
But I'm talking about the traditions that we grew up in, what we were taught from being brought up in church, and then we have like my dad's a pastor, and I just don't know anything different from what I just grew up in. Like I was born at like I'm in church.
Yeah.
I go to church on Sundays. This is why I do. When I shared my testimony at my church the other on Easter, I said I was as Christian as I was Korean.
Yeah.
Meaning I had no choice.
Yeah.
I didn't choose to be Korean, and I also didn't choose to be Christian. I was like, born into it. And when you don't know like anything differently other than like, I guess this is just what life is like, there's no choice in that. You know what I'm saying? And so now that I actually know why I'm Christian and I know why I believe what I believe, there's a whole different paradigm there. And I think and I'm not saying anything about your parents to be.
He's a pastor, by the way, too, right? So.
Oh yeah, dude, my dad was an elder, bro.
A 장로님?
장로님. He didn't live like no elder. As far as I know what an elder should be living like now that I know the Bible. He wasn't living that life, but he had that status. He's like, I'm Elder Chung. You know, Chung 장로님. I'm like, I guess that just means you're like higher ranking at the church.
Yeah.
Like people are supposed to respect you more. It's just cultural stuff, bro. That's why I'm like, this Christianity stuff is stupid.
Yeah, especially growing up Christian in a Korean setting definitely messed up my like. It gave me a good view. Like I loved the brotherhood, like all the friends that I made through going to church, and we would go on Wednesday and Friday and Saturday night and playing the parking lots and stuff. But like because of that, I'm like I look for that first when I go to any church.
Sure.
If I don't get it, I'm like, this is whack, you know.
Because you're
like,
looking for your way to enjoy the time. Because like I'm not here for the stuff that everyone is. Because all the stuff that everyone is here for is like not real.
For sure, no.
I'm here to play basketball. I'm here to go play Street Fighter. After
first thing
church.
I usually ask, and when I join a church. Like, you guys have any?
Like, what's your basketball
program? You guys have any other program? You're like, can I get a tour of the church?
The gym?
You guys have a gym? No. You know, I think I've seen enough.
Like, it's not the church for me. And you know what? There's a reason for that. Because we're all looking for something to connect to authentically. Yeah. You connected authentically to basketball. Yeah. That's why you were like, yo, what's the basketball situation at this church? You know what I'm saying? Because that was the only thing that was real to you over there.
Yeah, because that's what I grew up with, and that's what I'm looking for. I'm seeking that. It's almost like I have like Korean church issues, like daddy issues. Like
I get it.
You know what I mean?
Like I had it too.
Yeah,
I had it too.
It's messed me up.
Yeah,
you know,
messed me up too. And it's taken years of me deconstructing all that stuff to be like, that was not Jesus, bro. That was not Jesus.
Yeah,
that's not the gospel. And I'm not trying to get preachy over here. I'm just saying that's not what the Bible teaches. Let me just leave it at that.
Yeah.
And if that sparks any of y'all's freaking whatever, hit me in the DMs or listen to my other podcast. Listen to my other podcast, shameless plug, good service, because this is where I go deep into that stuff.
Yeah.
But I'm saying that's not the Bible. And I learned that later in life. I was like, whoa, all this like Christianity stuff that I grew up into, that's not the Bible. So with that stuff aside, I'm saying our parents showed us what they thought Christianity was. Yeah. And then there was like this like rules. If you do this, you're doing good. If you don't do this, you're doing bad. Yeah. And you know, like, and then even like being able to process feelings, process emotions, like all that, we learned that from our parents. And this is not to shame.
Or not how to, or lack thereof.
And I also want to put this out there. This is not to shame or vilify our parents. They just didn't know better. Yeah. And I think by the grace of God, we are starting to know better. And it's conversations like this where we get to like unpack, like, yo, man, like, why didn't you even talking about your conversation with your pops, like in front of the construction workers, you're using your inside voice, like, man, why would I want to have kids? Because look at you. Why would I want to have kids when our relationships like this? Bro, do you know how much like
I didn't say it like that. I said my image of having kids is what we have, and I don't see it as being that great. Like the benefit of it.
Yeah.
And I don't want to be a bad dad. I don't want to have a kid that doesn't.
You almost said bad pastor, by the way. I almost felt like you almost
a Freudian slip there, because I've given him.
Hey, bro, I'm just saying that's kind of.
I've definitely given him some what do you call it? Like showstoppers where he couldn't say anything back. He had no answer to it. And I think anyway, that's another topic. But yeah, like my dad doing that, it was definitely just I wanted to yell, but I didn't want to embarrass him. And that's another like one of those stress things.
That's a loving thing that you have in you because you're. I mean, okay, I'm not trying to vilify your dad and be like, oh, he would have yelled at you or whatever. Like, but like,
Sure.
like the way that you probably process, like, well, when my dad got into these types of situations, he would yell, he would lash out. So you're like, okay, that's what I'm gonna do too.
I learned it. Yeah.
But the fact that you were like, I'm not gonna yell at you. I'm gonna hold it back. I want to respect you and honor you because you're my father, and like that already, you're taking steps, and I think that's that progress thing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like
it's also that I'm not taking their words too literally or too harsh.
Right.
Like when he says it, I'm not like, oh my God, I need to fight it. I'm like, you don't know what you're saying. And then I just let it go. Like that's how I've been.
Yeah, that's how I'm on my.
You know what I mean? Just kind of like, okay, all right,
Yeah.
let's, cool,
I mean, yeah, you got to pick and choose your battles. Like
Yeah.
you don't want to like, yeah, you don't want to.
And it really is just this business, the business that we do it together, family business. And obviously everyone says it's tough. But yeah, if when we're not, long weekend or whatever, and we don't talk anything about work, it's a great time. Like we laugh, my mom is laughing, Vero's really good at kind of bringing us together. But then it's the minute when he's like, oh, by the way, he like brings up something that I'm like, okay. And then we start getting into it and then it's like, oh man. And it's that trauma of like wanting to like still just the vicious cycle of just doing it. I'm trying to break it.
Yeah.
So, and it helps that I'm trying to break it with her because then it helps me doing it everywhere else in my life. You know what I mean? So
yeah, for sure.
So
for
yeah,
sure.
but I think it's the one question I wanted to ask you is, I don't know if we talked about this, but have you forgiven your dad? That he's not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have, bro. And it's weird because I had to do it after he passed. I had to forgive him after he passed because I didn't even realize that I hadn't forgiven him while he was still alive. And that was a hard thing. And I didn't even know how to process that until months after he passed. And it was like on a Father's Day.
Yeah.
Father's Day of the year that he passed. So it took me some months. And I was just like, man, what the freak was this past? He got shot when I was 14. And he lived for 25 years. Yeah. And then he passed at 2020.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So it was a lot to process. But I was like, man, he actually did his best in his, bro, you got a bullet in your brain, bro. Like, I don't know, how do you process being a good father or even a functioning adult? Human, yeah. You got a bullet in your brain. I didn't understand that. I'm just like, bro, you're just freaking a burden on our family. Like, we got to look after you. You're supposed to be my dad. You're supposed to be my mom's leader and
especially
husband.
Because his image of your image of him wasn't that great.
I never had a good
that,
image of him. Like, I went from a not good image to even a worse image. I'm like, dude, I got to take care of you now. And even worse, he would lash out because he thought he was normal. He thought he was still the man of the house, and he would be like, "What are you doing talking to me?" I'm just like,
yeah,
bro, I could take you out right now.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, that was my relationship with my dad. It was a lot of anger, a lot of resentment. But then I also see in hindsight that, dude, I legit found God because my dad got shot and he survived. And I saw my dad find God somehow after he got shot. So I'm like, okay, through some like really ugly, horrific incident, I found God. My dad found God. I became close with my family. I became close with my brother, my sister, my mom. I was the kid, dude. I'm like, I was like, my family's lame, dude. I don't need to hang out with my family. You know what I'm saying? I'm literally like, I'm going to go skate.
Yeah, peace.
Like, peace. Like, I'm just going to go skate. I don't care what you guys are doing.
These white boys.
Straight up. Like, that was me, bro. I'm like, I'm just going to go do what I want to do. But when my dad got shot, that brought it all back. And like, bro, no, you got to look after your brother. You got to look after your sister. You got to look after your mom.
Yeah.
You got to be home. You got to like take care. And I'm not like saying this like, oh, I was such a good guy. I was like the man of the house. I'm like, bro, I just felt like, no, I can't do all that stuff anymore. I got to be home. It's got to be home. And it was tough, bro. Like I had me and Steve, my brother, like, I'll say his name. He'd probably listen. We got into fights, many fights, into the point where he was just like, bro, why are you treating me like a kid?
Yeah.
Why are you trying to fight me? I'm trying to talk to you. And I was like,
that was your moment of,
are you not a kid anymore?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll talk to you like an adult, but then act like an adult. Be responsible. Like, don't be stupid and be out here smoking cigarettes, bro. That's not cool.
That's why you got.
You know what I mean? Like,
he's doing great right now. We almost went to Maui, baby. We almost moved to Maui.
He could have been Morimoto's like #1 chef right now. Now we're putting out his business. No, I'm saying love you, Steve, but I'm saying if my dad didn't get shot, I don't think I would have been any of this. I might not even be alive, dog. To be totally honest with you, knowing how I am as a person. I'm a very.
You think you would have been crazier?
100%,
gangster
bro.
Man? Like,
I probably
hey,
would have been, dude.
I would like to, hey, cuh.
Honestly, before my dad got shot, I was going that gangster route.
Oh.
I was, bro. I was getting into fights. I'm like, oh, I'm Asian. Now I'm down. I'm hella down. Da-da-da-da. And then, like, I had my homies, like, backstab me. Like, not literally stab me, but they, like, turned on me and all that. And it made me even angrier. Dude, I was an angry kid. When my dad got shot, I was an angry kid. And then when he got shot, I was a scared kid.
Yeah.
I was like a helpless kid. I was like, whoa,
Maybe that kind of put you in.
Yeah, I was like, what is this world? I don't want to be a part of this. And that's when God was like, I got you. Let's go. You know what I mean? So like
that's God right there, dude.
1000% that's God. That's 1000% God.
I was on that path of doing gang stuff too, but the dudes that I would hang out with, they just laugh at me all the time, like never took me seriously. So I was just like,
well,
they're like, you're too funny, Goofy. you can't do this life.
That's also God protecting you from that life, because they're like, oh, yeah,
they weren't that hard. They weren't gangster.
But I'm saying, I'm not at all trying to glorify that life, because it's not a good life. But I know that was my trajectory, because that was what I thought was cool, and I only did what I thought was cool.
Yeah.
And like it took God like intervening, but like your dad just got shot, bro.
Do you want to get shot?
Life is real. You know what I'm saying? Like all you have is your family. You got to take care of them. So that was where I was like, okay, like that's not for me anymore.
Yeah.
I want to figure out like how to be better. You know what I'm saying? And then it was a process, man. And I think that's why. So going back to even like my mom saying like, why are you crying so much? Don't cry. Boys don't cry. I'm just like, okay, I'll try to stop.
Yeah.
Because I wasn't even like, nah, what are you talking about? I can cry if I want to.
Don't cry unless it's Chichollo, right? Like, because they cry.
She didn't even tell me that, bro.
All the time.
She didn't even tell me that. She was just like, why are you crying all the time? Boys don't cry. So if I would cry, I would go into my room and hide and cry. I would literally cry. My mom even told me this, that like sometimes when I would get punished or whatever, I would like try to hold it in my face and be like, and like, yeah, I'm not crying. And then I would run to my room and I would go into my curtains and I'd wrap myself in my curtains and I would cry. But my mom would see that and she was just like, wow, this kid just has a soft heart. And she was just like, it's not like she didn't know that. She was just like, yeah, you ran into your room, you wrapped yourself in your curtains, like as if no one can see you.
Yeah. Like
you're invisible now. And she was like, you would just cry it out in the curtain and then you would come out and then you would just start playing. She was like, that's how you were.
Dealt with shit, yeah.
Yeah. And I was like, well, damn. Okay.
Is that why you always go into the bathroom when we have an argument?
Yes, bro. I'm crying every time in the bathroom, wrapping myself
like always go out and then you come out and you're like,
towels,
hey,
bro.
let's play some Switch.
Like, in your towels, crying it out.
Sense.
And I come out ready to go.
I'm always like, why is this towel in the corner? What the hell is going on? Like, what? No, I'm just kidding.
That sounds weird.
No, yeah. That would go
weird.
In the hamper right away, okay?
That sounds weird. Nah, but for real though, man, like, I mean, you sparked this conversation by asking how I was, and I was like, what do you mean by that, bro?
Yeah.
You really want to know?
I thought we were going to talk about the Lakers basketball. We'll play it. No, I'm just kidding.
Well, by the time this pod comes out, it's going to be history.
Yeah.
The Lakers are champs. And
let's
if we're not,
let's hope we
next
can cut
year,
it out.
Next year, we got it. Nah, man, I love this convo, bro. That's what we're out here to do, is just talk about the real stuff. And this is real, man.
Yeah.
You know,
I definitely want to get into a little bit more of your story, like you know, because there's stuff that I still don't know. Like,
You want to interview me, bro?
yeah, I think we should do.
We'll save that for another episode.
Yeah,
then.
we'll save that for.
All right. If
we'll
y'all
do-
want to see an interview of me,
Yeah, we'll do.
everyone just unsubscribe right
Yeah,
now.
we'll-
Everyone's like, nah,
We'll
sorry,
do
we don't
a
care.
little bio on you know on you. I
You
think
know what?
my story is not
that
as,
would be
like-
fun. You know what? I would love to do like an in-depth because I actually never really dug into your personal story either.
Yeah,
So I
yeah.
think that'd be good. This is what we're here to do, right?
Yeah.
Like, let's dig into some real life stuff. And like, I mean, yeah, I'm on the other podcast, Kindra's podcast, but I'm also interviewing other people, so I don't
Yeah.
really talk about
Let's
myself.
talk about you.
So there hasn't been a whole lot of places where I've actually shared my in-depth story. Not that I need to or that anybody really cares, but maybe someone does.
Hey,
and
I
might-
care.
that
I want
might-
to know because
that might
I've
help
known you
some
for
people.
this long, and I still, like I said, like I knew when you told me about your dad, and he got shot. Like you told me, I found out like way later, like dojo days. I feel like that's when I first
The
heard about
fudge?
it. Yeah, you never talked about it. You never.
I don't just meet people
Exactly.
like, hey, my name is
No,
Ben.
I know,
My dad
I
got
know,
shot.
and that's
Like,
what I'm saying.
you know
I think like when we first met, we never talked about that kind of stuff, and then it just continued on where we just never brought up that kind of stuff, you know.
I
And
get it.
and after when I heard about it, I was like, you're right. I never always in my mind, I thought he just was out of the like I thought he passed away or something young. So I just never wanted to bring it up. I never wanted unless you wanted to talk about it.
Yeah,
so,
yeah. I get
yeah.
it.
So definitely, I think it would be good because I don't know. A lot of people, I'm sure they want to know. They don't know,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
it's really interesting because how many people could say that they went through that? Like even for me, I'm like, dang, I feel like I gotta come up with stuff to like even.
You don't got to come up with anything, bro.
I gotta go shoot someone. No, I'm just no. That's horrible.
Don't do that.
That's horrible. Cut it
We
out.
just clip
Cut
that part.
it out.
That's the promo clip. I gotta go shoot someone. Welcome to
Yeah,
Conversations. No, but for real, guys, we're playing around here. We're having some fun.
Love it.
We're talking about some real stuff. You know, we got a little deep today.
Yeah, thanks for
And
stopping by.
but you know what? I'm glad that we went there because I feel like this is a topic, especially as Asian men. You know, talking about feelings and crying, and that's just not
hard.
like it's not hot.
It's not hot in the
It's
streets.
not hot. It's just not hot. But why is it not hot? Well, that's a problem.
Yeah,
you
let's
know?
make it hot.
I don't know about making it hot, but it's just like, oh, that's just not cool. Because cool is like, yeah, whatever. It doesn't faze me. Da, 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 da.
Yeah.
But that's also just not real. So this place is where we keep it real. We just keep it real.
Keep it real,
We'll
man.
keep it light. We'll keep it heavy. We'll just keep it real wherever it goes. And that's what it is. So
Yeah.
if y'all are tuning in today, thank you so much. Thank you so much for tuning in. And follow us on our socials.
Yeah, we got yeah, it's right here.
All the handles, they're all different. They'll be in the description.
And please make sure to like the video if you like it. If you don't, give a thumbs down too and tell us
Don't
why.
do that.
Why?
Why are you telling people to give us thumbs down?
Well, if they don't like it, we should know why they don't.
Just don't do anything.
Don't do any of that. Just give us a thumbs up.
Yeah. It's like, if you have
And a
nothing nice
comment.
to say, don't say
Don't
anything
say
at
anything.
all.
No, you're right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes, you're
Why are
right.
you telling people to thumbs
I thought
down
we were
us, bro?
We were really okay. I thought we were just being real here.
I am being real.
Okay,
I don't want
shit.
thumbs down.
No
That's
thumbs,
being real.
No thumbs down, guys.
That's being mean.
Please, let's.
If you don't like it, just swipe away. Don't
Yes.
give us thumbs down.
Don't give us thumbs down. Don't quote me on that. But yeah, subscribe and share if you something that we said and you like it and you want to pass it on to a friend that might resonate with them. Please do so. So we appreciate it.
That's it. That's it. Conversations.
Conversations.
We out here. Peace.
Peace.